All right, in this video, I am going to cover home lab. Now, why do we need a home lab and what is the main reason that JSS, a platform who usually give their own labs, will also make a video on home lab? Well, number one, it because a lot of people, if they have a resources in their home, like a laptop or a desktop, and if it has enough memory and RAM, then it's okay to create a home lab because sometimes you want to preserve your lab to come back tomorrow, whatever you have started. So then it's easy for you to not redo everything. Now, in our JSS labs, of course, when we talk about, let's say, a setup of Active Directory, now, Active Directory is pre-built in the lab, so you don't have to create it again and again. So the other solution is Home Lab. If you have created Active Directory in your home, then you don't have to create it again and again. The second reason is that for people who don't want to invest into JSS labs, then it can work with any course as long as you have enough memory and RAM and you have a setup like a Active Directory running on a server and you have one or two other machines that where you can replicate skills from the courses, then you can use home lab. It can be any course. It can be a bootcamp course, it could be a Udemy course, it could be a YouTube video, it could be a platform courses, whatever you name it. You just have to look at the video and then at least do a little bit of your own research that okay, I want to at least come closer to if an instructor is using a Active Directory, then in my server I have Active Directory in my home lab. If the instructor is creating an account and then logging into a desktop or a laptop or a virtual desktop inside my home lab, then I can do that in my home lab. I don't have to actually follow exactly the same thing that they're doing in their products or different type of labs. So that's one solution. Secondly, we're doing this because when we are a platform where we create our courses and we are very heavily telling people that home lab comes with stress, it comes with limitation. You're not going to have everything available inside the labs, the setup, the tasks, the step-by-step instructions. None of that stuff will be available, so you it does come with its own stress. And that's where we get negative feedback from some of the people who don't like the idea of we telling them you need to go for something more paid solutions. And that's why we are doing this, so you can avoid that. If you don't like it, then just go with the home lab, and that's why we are doing this. What are we going to cover? We are going to cover VirtualBox, which is available to everybody on Windows and Mac. We're only going to cover Windows, but if you see this video, it will give you an idea. If you're using Mac or Linux, then you will do your own research and you will find a solution for Mac as well. I'm sure it's going to be similar to the Windows. So I'm going to be using this laptop for my demo purpose. Now, few things that you need to make sure when you do it. My laptop is enabled for virtualization. This means that this laptop is new enough to take on virtualization technology. So if you have a very old laptop, go to Google, find out in your model that can I use this model for virtualization, and you will find out the answer from internet because we don't know who's using what, right? So you need to do that research. 16 GB RAM is in this laptop, and it has a SSD, which is a little faster hard drive than a normal hard drive. So my experience might be different than yours because I have 16 GB RAM, which is I usually recommend this is the minimum that people should have. Even if you have less than that, you can still try it, but you're going to have a little slowness going on and things like that. And this is the stress that I'm talking about in our trainings when we say people will come across stress. So keep that in your mind. In Windows 10 and Windows 11 on the taskbar, you can click on Task Manager. And here you can click on Performance. On the right side, you see there is virtualization is enabled. If it's not enabled, then make sure to research on how to enable this from your BIOS or however your system will basically tell you. And here you can see my memory is 16 GB, and then I have a SSD, which is pretty fast hard drive these days. Most of the new systems comes with this sort of resources. So then now let's go to download the VirtualBox. This is the virtualization technology available for free on open source, so we can use it for business and for home use as well. So here is called VirtualBox. We're gonna go ahead and click on download or click on the VirtualBox website. And here you see there's a download option. And here, depending on what kind of system you're using, you will click on it. We are using Windows, so I'm going to click on Windows. Now, wherever you have downloaded the file, go to that from browser. Usually every browser comes with this tab where it says download. Make sure to look into that, or go to the folder and click on download, and you will see that VirtualBox is available. You can directly open it from here, or you can go directly to the folder. I'm going to directly open it from here. You do need an admin rights. Of course, if you're using this machine for this purpose, I am assuming you're an admin. So you're going to run this, or else it's going to ask you for username and password. Now, you see it came across this error. It says that Oracle VirtualBox needs the Microsoft blah, blah, blah. And then please install and restart the Oracle package. So let's go ahead and click on OK. And right now it's going to basically say finish. So you see that these are the things that you're going to come across, or if you have that already, you probably won't have this issue. So let's go back again, and I'm going to run it one more time, and just to show you, because I wanted to show you what will happen. Okay, so now you see it said needs Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 redistributable. So this is where you have to do a little bit of technical research, and that is how IT professionals do most of our work. Like, this is how we get it. And we're going to say, okay, Microsoft Visual C++ 2019 redistributable. So we're going to say Microsoft, and we're going to do C++ 2019 redistributable download. Okay, so now you see right here, this is where we are going to get that link. Now, most of the new systems are 64-bit. You may have an older system, and that could be 32-bit. So we're going to use 64. We're going to go ahead and click on this. And now we are going to download this file and run it. So right now, I'm going to agree to this. Let's pretend that I read this, and I'm going to install. After this, go ahead and restart your machine, and we'll come back to this recording once this restart is over. Now, after restart, go ahead and open where you have downloaded the VirtualBox, double click on it, and click on yes again. And now let's see, you see it's not giving you the error. So we're going to click on next, keep everything default right here, and click on next. If you do have a second hard drive and you want to move it because you don't have a space in C drive, then you can change it from here, but I'll keep everything default. Let's go ahead and click on yes. It's going to say that it's going to disrupt your internet services, blah, blah, blah. Just click on yes and proceed with installation. And we're going to click on install and let it install. Now the VirtualBox is ready. This is the application where you can now download operating system and run it virtually inside your laptop. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. It is going to open the VirtualBox, or double click on it if that doesn't open. I did the checkbox, so it should open it. So this is the application now running inside your laptop. Now you see that this application have nothing right now. There's no operating system running virtually inside this this application. And for that, we do need to get some information, or some, sorry, not information, the resources from Microsoft. So what is our goal right here? Our goal is to replicate the instructor or the trainers or whoever is teaching you stuff, to make sure that you're able to do or perform similar steps. In most of our courses and our trainings, we use server and a Windows operating system. So the first thing we would do is to download a server operating system in this VirtualBox and set it up. So you're going to go to Google, and let's just go to google.com, and here you will basically type Windows Server 2019 evaluation, like that. The reason I'm picking 2019 is because this is now widely used in companies and it's well tested. You don't want to go too advanced, too new. 2022 is going to have you issues, or you don't want to go too down. So 2019 is a great way to get started. We use 2019 in most of our trainings as well. So here, when you click on it, you're going to click on Windows Server 2019 Evaluation Center. You're going to click on that, and then it's going to take you to this link right here. So here, let's go down, and here you're going to click on download the ISO. So now it's going to take you to this 2019 page, and what you need to do is probably you need to fill out this information on the right side and then click on download now. I'm going to do that and come back. So after filling out that form, it's going to get to this page, and we're going to click on the United States ISO 64-bit because that's the machine that we're currently using. So I'm going to go ahead and click on 64-bit, and now it's going to get downloaded. So if your internet is slow, it's going to take time. It's a big file. And again, we're using 2019 not for learning a server. We just need this server to create a domain controller environment, Active Directory, and then we will use this to learn the technical skills like adding a computer to a domain, username and passwords, and anything that has to do with a company type of network. That's why we need 2019 because it's tested well. All right, so now that our file is downloaded, we are going to go back to the VirtualBox. So now inside your laptop VirtualBox application, we will install a new operating system for you to practice. So we are going to click on new, and here you will name it DC, domain controller. So in your training, most of the time you will hear a trainer say domain controller, Active Directory, this is a server, this is the master, this controls everything. So this is what you're doing right now. You're creating that master. So here we need to pick that image. Image is what? The file that we just downloaded from internet, which is this one. You can go to other, go to download folder and pick it from there. I already did. So here, another important piece is that VirtualBox now automatically add information. So it can help you faster the process. But you don't have to do that because I would say if you're new, skip the unattended installation and follow information because you want to learn things too. So click on skip unattended installation and then click next. Here, this is important. VirtualBox automatically picked 2 GB RAM for this server, but that's why I say that it's gonna be, you don't want to go all the way to the red because that's gonna be pretty hard on your network or sorry, your laptop. So you want to go to at least, let's say 4 GB right here. Let's go to the 4096 is good, and you want to give it at least 2 CPUs to make it better. And then we will click on next right here. Now this is another important part, that your computer comes with let's say 250 GB hard disk. You don't want to go all the way towards that. You want to keep it minimum, and 50 is good for practice as well. So and make sure you know what your computer have right now. It's not going to take all 50 GB. It's going to be virtual hard disk, so it's going to shrink it, but you need to keep it enough so you can practice. Once you click on next, it's going to give you the information, and then click on finish. All right, so this is the important phase now. So don't start the machine, right click on it, go to settings. And once you go to settings, click on system. Now you need to make sure that you uncheck the floppy, and optical should be the first one, and then the hard disk. The reason is that because you want to boot your machines from that ISO. It's like your DVD CD. And then you need to go to network and remove the NAT and make it bridge adapter. Bridge is basically saying that connect me with your current router. So give me the IP address from the current internet connection. So the laptop that's using right now, your normal operating system is using a network, and that's what's this gonna also get that. And that's to make it easy for you first to just start learning technical skills and not getting into more issues. So here you're going to click OK, and you will start the machine. Now, let me warn you, this is where a lot of people are using Mac, Linux, whatever laptop, desktop, and you will be using it. Whatever error you get over here, this is kind of like where we say it's a headache, because that's why we give our own labs, because you're going to get a lot of issues in this area. And then this is where you need to go to Google and find how you can fix your problem. So we're going to click on start. And if everything is good, it's just going to go out there and restart, installing the operating system of the server inside this VirtualBox. So here you go. It's starting right now, powering it up. And it went out there. And there you go. It's loading the file from my ISO. When you see the loading files, it's loading the file from the ISO, and it's running the operating system right now. I just clicked on this to move this. I'm going to move it up like that. I can go to view, and I can change the screen resolution here. Maybe I'll do 150 so you guys can see better. So it got a little bigger. So now you see this is the operating system installation part just started right now. This is like you are in front of a computer, you got the DVD, you plugged in the DVD, you restarted that machine from that DVD, and now you have a full installation going on inside this machine. We're going to click on next and click install now. So by this time, if you get a lot of errors, what do? You take that error, go to Google, find the solution, and fix it. If you have not used 2019, maybe you should, because maybe you're using something very new like 2012 and you're coming across issues. So here I'm gonna click on the data center experience, desktop experience. I'm gonna click on that inside the machine. So when you wanna use a mouse, you have to click inside. So I'm gonna click on 2019 data center and I'm gonna click next. And I'm going to click accept the agreement. Let's see, let's assume I read it. I'm going to click next. And here, because we're installing a brand new operating system on that 50 GB hard drive and the RAM that we picked, we're going to click on custom. And you see it's 50 GB that we have given, and we're going to click next. And now the installation has started. Right now, we're just installing the operating system with no services like domain, Active Directory, none of that stuff. It's just a brand new operating system. It has no management, nothing. It's just a fresh operating system, a server, and then we will install a client operating system after this, and then we will start the whole process of Active Directory and all that sort of stuff. So then when you're learning from the training, then you know, okay, yeah, my domain controller is this one. My DC, the instructor is talking about domain controller, Active Directory. Where can I open it myself in my computer? So you will say, okay, let me go to my DC and open Active Directory and play around with it just like the instructor is doing. If the instructor is using a second machine like Windows 10 over here, which we're going to install now after this, then you will say, okay, yeah, instructor is using Windows 10. Is it connected to DC? Let me try that. Let me try this. Let me try that. Every single thing that you're seeing in our trainings, you would be able to replicate it in most cases. The only thing you cannot replicate is when things gets more advanced, or routers or switches, or if our labs have more advanced things going on. Of course, that's just gonna come with more equipments and different type of resources. That's not going to be available to you in this type of lab. But it's good to have. Definitely, it's working now. And let's just wait for this to finish up, and we'll come back again with the recording. All right, once you see this screen, this means your operating system is installed, and you need to create an admin user and password, because this is a local admin and user. So if you forget this, of course, you're going to have a lot of trouble. So before you do this, you can do something more proactive, because in the future, if you want to install another domain controller, you don't have to actually do that. You can just cancel this, and we're just going to power this machine off just like that. I know a lot of people may not like this, but you know, this is just a lab environment. So I'm just going to close it like that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click and I'm going to clone this. This is important to note. If you don't have a lot of space, you wouldn't do this. And you can just continue with something like, let's say, clone, or something like just moving on and kind of continue the whole process. But I'm going to clone it. Why am I cloning it? Because tomorrow, if I need to create a new server, I'm just going to call this server image. I don't need to wait for installation and doing all that stuff again. I'm not going to do that, right? So I'm going to basically do this and click on next. So include only NAT network addresses, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to click on next here and do a full clone. Link clone could be like, if you do a link clone, then a new snapshot will be created. So you could go back to that. But I like to do a link clone. I'm just going to do that. And it creates a new machine. So I don't have to recreate everything again. But if, let's say, you don't have too much space, don't do this. Just kind of like skip this part and then move on to another new part that I'm going to do after this. So now I have a server image. I'm not going to touch that. This is going to be for me to create new servers. Here, I'm going to go back to the DC and I'm going to turn it on again. So even though I shut it down when it was asking me for username and password, it's going to go back and give me the same screen again. That's how I shut it down. So it's going to give me the same username and password, and we're going to continue creating this machine. So we're going to turn it on and wait for it to come up. So let's just wait, starting the machine. And this time it's saying the insert the key. Don't make sure you don't touch anything at that point. Later on, you can remove that ISO, so you're not going to get that message. But now it's going back to the hard drive because that was a second boot in our process. So now it's going back to the hard drive and turning on that machine, and it's going to give us the same information, username and password. Okay. So there you go. So administrator account is already there. I'm going to create a new password and make sure you don't forget this password. Okay. And now I'm going to click on finish. So now it's finishing the password, a username and administrator, and it's now a running machine, running server inside this operating system. It's using our memory, it's using some of the space. And some people may realize that at this point your computer is lagging, slow, and again, that's why then we do solutions like our labs. But if everything is good, then you're good. So here inside this little window, you have machine where you can do pause, reset, and things like that. You have file, reset all warnings. You have weave. You can change the screen. If you want to make it bigger, you can go to a virtual screen and change the size and full screen and things like that. You have input, you have keyboard. How do you do Control Alt Delete? Print screen, all that stuff is available. If you want to add another CD to this machine, you can do it from here. But only you will need this one keyboard, Control Alt Delete. And once you do that, it's going to ask you with the password that you just created. So we're going to put that password and log into this server right now. So right now we are in the operating system. Again, we're not gonna, in this training, in this VirtualBox training, we're not gonna tell you what is server, all that sort of stuff. That's the part of training. That's why you're taking a courses. So by now, you know that you have a server running inside your virtual machine. And you see, our network is pulling the address from our local router automatically. Why? Because we, in the beginning, used the bridge network. So I'm gonna say yes to that. So our server is running, and at this point, what you need to do right here, the first thing is to right click on the start, go to system, and change the name of this server. So you see the name of the server is WinRRR, something very big name. So we're gonna go ahead and rename it, and we're gonna call it DC. And we're gonna click on next. If DC is not working, then use some other names, DC2, DCA. And then what do you want to do? Restart this server with that name. So now you're going to have a name right here that's matching the real name of the machine inside your VirtualBox. So once this is done, it's going to get restarted. And then what I would like you to do is to shut this server down. And then let's go with an client operating system, which is going to be your what? Windows 10 machine. And I wouldn't recommend you Windows 11. Windows 11, you should do it later on when you get comfortable with your lab. Then later on, do the Windows 11 because that's going to come with issues. You don't want to get stuck with that right now. So now we're done with this. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back and we're going to log into this server and we're going to just shut it down properly. So let's go ahead and shut it down. Okay, there you go. And we'll say unplanned. So this server is now shut down. It's going to shutdown mode and it's going to get shut down. This whole screen will go away, or it will just say this machine is shut down. Okay. There you go. It's gone. So if I right click on this, you see I have this information right here. All of that stuff is available. So I'm not touching that anymore. So what we're going to do now, we need to download Windows 10 because this is the management server where you're going to put Active Directory, everything that we are using in our trainings. And then you need a machine or two machines to be able to practice that what we're teaching you, just like what you're going to see in our videos. Okay, you need to use a little common sense over here. If a trainer is using their Active Directory, then you're using your Active Directory here in this virtual machine. So let's do that. So now we are going to do the same thing. We are going to download Windows 10 evaluation by going to Google and we'll type Windows 10 evaluation download, and then you will download the ISO just like what we did for the server. So the first link, we are using Microsoft Evaluation Center, and here we are going to click on download the ISO Enterprise. And once you do that, it's going to ask you for the same form. Make sure to download the correct one. Most likely it's going to be 64-bit. And when you click on it, it's going to download the ISO just like the first one. We will wait for this to finish, and then I'm going to show you how to basically create a full Windows 10 virtual system. So then you're going to open your VirtualBox here, and we are going to click on New. And now we're going to create a new machine. We're going to call it help desk because you want to learn it like a real lab, right? You want to create a help desk machine, then you want to create a staff machine, and it automatically picks the Windows 10 for you. Now we're going to pick the ISO. It is going to automatically then again pick the right settings, and we are going to skip the unattended installation just like we did before, because we want to name or give right correct things. So here the RAM should be around 4 GB. You do not want to go towards the red side. Make it almost middle or less, and then we want to give it 2 CPUs, and then we will click on next. Here we can lower the 50 GB if you don't have too much space. Let's do like 35 or something like that, and then we will click on next again. So then you can finish it, and now you have the machine. So we're gonna go and change the settings just like we did for the first one system. Let's remove the floppy. Optical disk is, which is your virtual disk ISO, is up top, and we're gonna go to network, change it from NAT to bridge adapter, and then we are going to click next, and now we are ready to spin this machine. Once you turn it on, wait for a little bit. It's going to power on and automatically start the installation from the CD ISO. So just like a normal installation of our virtual operating system, it's going to start with Windows 10 initial setup, and this is where we will just kind of finish this installation. Now I'm changing the screen. You can do the same thing like that if you think your screen is small. You can play around with these different settings. So now I'm going to click on next and finish the installation, and it's going to prompt for the initial agreement. We are going to go ahead and click on that and then continue this installation. There you go. And now we're going to scroll down, accept the agreement, click on next, and then click on custom. And we're going to click on next because we're installing a brand new Windows 10. So once this is finished, we can power it off. So once you see the screen where it says welcome, I just powered it off just like I did with the server, right? And I cloned it. I did not restart the machine. I am cloning it because in future I might need another installation and I don't have to wait for it. So I'm calling this staff now, and I'm just going to click next and finish the full clone. So this is exactly what I did with the server. If you remember that, I just did the same thing with this Windows 10 operating system. And now after this, we will have another machine as a backup, or I can run it for another purpose like staff machine. So now we are going to go back to our help desk and power it on again, and we will log back in, and I'm going to show you that once you log in again, even after shutting it down like that, it is going to go back to the first screen of initial setup of Windows 10. And when you see where it says hit the keep, make sure you don't do that because it's going to start everything from scratch, and usually you can just ignore that part for now. Now when the Windows machine is back up and running, you're going to see the same information. I'm going to click on United States, and then after that I'm going to start US with the keyboard, click yes. I'm going to skip this part, want to add a layout. Now after this, it's going to ask me for a username and security questions. I usually use admin account just to differentiate it from help desk, so I'm just going to use admin. And usually admin is a local account that is getting created on this machine. It's not being managed, it's just a local account, administrative account. Put the password that you remember. So once you finish with the password, then it's going to ask you for security questions. Make sure you just kind of like add whatever you want to add here, and then click on next and finish the security questions, and then let's move on to the next step. I accept this type of information just because it's a VM, and then I'm going to say not now, and then it's going to go ahead and restart the machine. Now do remember that I'm recording this, so sometimes I stop the video and come back to it. And this is the headache that comes with it, right? The local machine is gonna sometimes take time. Sometimes maybe you might come across issues. You may have to shut it down forcefully. But you see that once it's restarted, it got a network connection, so we are good with that. Again, we have to go to system and change the name of this machine because we want to make use of real names, help desk, and we want to combine it together or make it similar to what our virtual machines names are. So I'm going to restart this right now. Once the machine is restarted, I'm going to go back and log into this machine with the local admin account. And what are we going to do right now? Now we have a machine that's basically ready to go for practice. So we have an operating system, which is Windows 10. And then we have a domain server that we already installed. So what are we going to do right now? We're going to add an Active Directory on a server because now it's the real practice, right? You got two machines, server and you got client machine. Now you're learning how to install Active Directory so you can manage this help desk machine from Active Directory. This is just an example for you. You could be watching a course and you can then replicate whatever you like to. But again, if there's an issues, we will not be able to help you because you're using your home machines and we have no idea what kind of issues you're going to come across. So if you get stuck somewhere, if a machine is not loading and things like that, try to shut it down forcefully, bring it up again, do all that sort of stuff. Go to Google, try to figure things out because at the end of the day, you're trying to become an IT professional and you need to learn these things. Now, here's what I'm going to show you quickly that you can use these keys. So make sure when you're using it, I'm switching to it. You see how I removed the left and right side from that, and you could basically do that from hitting the Control and C button, or sometimes the right click and C button. So from a keyboard. So this is why it's important, because if you go to the full scale in a server, you need to do Alt Control Delete, and you're gonna get stuck. So now I'm showing you how to log into a server. And what we are going to do now, we are going to convert this server into a management machine, meaning we're going to make it, give it Active Directory. We're going to install Active Directory on it. And then this server will become a management server for the other machines. So right now you see there is no Active Directory installed on this server. So if you go and open administrative tool, there's nothing in there. So we're going to click on Server Manager, and then again, if you want to confirm, you can click on Tools. There is no Active Directory right now. So to add an Active Directory, what do we need to do? We need to go to Manage, and then we will click on Add Roles and Features. And here we are going to click Next. And then we are going to basically add the Active Directory domain services in this server. So once you click on that, and you click on Add Features, and you click on Next, Next, and Next. Right now, again, you're not learning about servers right now, right? You're just trying to follow me because you want to add Active Directory. Later on, if you want to learn about server related things, then you will need to understand what's going on over here. Here we will then need to promote this server to a domain controller. This is a step that makes this an Active Directory domain controller. So here we will type a domain address. This means you need to know this: jobskillshare.org, .com, .local, yourname.org, .com, .local, anything will work in your lab. So once we do jobskillshare.org, we are going to click on Next here, and then it's going to basically ask for a password. Make sure to give it a good password. It does require a little strong password. Don't want to just give it a very weak password over here. All right, once that's done, click on Next, and then you're going to click on Next again, and then you're going to be asked to put a net BIOS. Now, automatically, if you put a root domain pretty long, then it's going to have a long address or the name. I would like you to bring that down to something simple. For example, you see Job Skills Share and that number, and then now you want to bring it down to JSS. So let's just add JSS as initials. So we're going to click on Next, and that should be good to go. And then it will finish the whole domain controller setup, and then you're going to click Next, and it will do some basics. It will give you some summary, and then after that you want to click on Install and finish this off. Once it's fully installed, it's going to give you a message that it needs to get restarted, so it's going to go ahead and restart. And at this point, you have a domain controller running on your server. So you have an Active Directory in this server running for you to start managing other machines from this server. Now, again, things can take time, so be patient and just give it its time. And now you see this is on domain. You see the JSS administrator account. So it's not on local account anymore. It has the new JSS account, administrator account for Active Directory. So let's go ahead and log in. And once you log in, I'm going to show you that it also has everything working now. So once the server manager is open, we will show you that there is Active Directory. And here on the left side, make sure to wait for this loading to finish. So now you see that ADDS is running, go to tools, and now you see Active Directory users and computers. So when we open it, our Active Directory is up and running. So you can see we have a job skill share. So this is what we need to do. We need to now add help desk to the Active Directory. You see, if you go to computers, there is no computer that we're managing right now in this network, this virtual network that we have created with virtual machines, only domain controllers there. So the part to do that, we need to add a new account, which is called help desk. So now you're going to learn how to add an Active Directory user, but this account is going to be a help desk account with more rights. So we're just going to right click and add a new. So I'm just showing you multiple ways that how you can add a user. And now I'm going to add a help desk account here. And then we are going to give it a password. So let's just first add all the name, username, next. Make sure to uncheck the first box because it's going to make you change the password then. All right, so click next and finish. So now we're going to right click on it, go to properties, and we're going to go click on member of. And we need to make this an administrator account. And that's how in the companies you will have more rights. You're not going to be an admin, super admin, but in lab you should make yourself an admin. Now we're going to click on apply and OK. So this is something that a systems administrator or network engineer manages. Now we're going to go to the help desk machine, and our job is right now to add this machine to a domain. This could be an interview question, like how do you add a computer to a domain? So right now you have a normal machine, you open it up, whether it's a laptop, desktop, and you click on domain, access, work, or school. So sometimes you click on this way and you will click on connect, and then you will click on local domain connection, but sometimes this may not work. As you can see in my computer, it didn't work, or it was taking a long time. So I opted to choose another method. So this is the thing that as an IT professional, where am I learning all this stuff? You have to learn this from courses. You have to learn techniques from different type of courses. None of this stuff, people will not go through this tiny things with you. So let's go to systems. And here we are going to basically cancel this. And we're going to scroll down. We will click on advanced system settings. And we will basically click on computer name. And we will click on change. And that's where the domain is there. So we need to add a domain. So what is our domain name that we have created? jobskillshare.org. So now we get an error. Now the reason you're getting this error because this is a virtual environment, virtual lab, and not everything is automatically done for you. Usually this is something that a lot of sysadmins or network engineer will already configure in the network. You don't have to worry about this type of learning. So how do you fix it? You go back to the domain controller that you have created. You're going to go and open CMD, the command line, and you will type ipconfig /all. So note down the IP address of this domain controller. What is that? 192.168.1.66. So we need to go back to the help desk machine, and we're going to go back to its networking adapter. We're going to click on change adapter option. And then we will open the Ethernet, right click on it, and go to properties. Now we will select IPv4 properties, and then we will click on the DNS settings. And we need to type that same IP address of that domain controller and point this machine towards that domain controller DNS. Remember that server that you just installed does have a DNS. So it is going to need to control that machine. So we need to point this machine now towards that domain controller. So if we go back right now, You have to close the box that's already open with the error, just in case you're also seeing the same screen where like you're clicking things and that something is not happening. That's because you have a box open behind that window, white window. So I'm going to close this one, and now we're going to click OK. So you see now it went out and said like, hey, I am trying to connect to you, and yeah, okay, I'm a DNS, I'm a domain controller, I have Active Directory. What is the username and password that's authorized to do that? Help desk. Yeah, we created that account, right? So now you use that. It says welcome to the domain. So now you have added this machine to that Active Directory, to that domain controller, and now that domain controller can manage this machine. And you can confirm it going back to the computers and just refresh the Active Directory, and you will see the connected machine now. So this kind of confirms it, that you can manage this machine. And now we have users. Under users, help desk is the one that we have used. So this means everything is working from a domain connection point of view. All right, and see other users are added with the domain now. Before that was not there, so now it's added, and you can use any account that you add in Active Directory and log in, and that's how you practice. After this, of course, you can follow your courses and kind of learn whatever you can from the Active Directory. So after this, you should go back to the VirtualBox and configure the staff machine that you have created from scratch, just like how you created the help desk. And the point of making another machine is to kind of learn about Active Directory now, add more users to it, and just normal users, don't make them an admin, log them in, try to understand how the policy works. You can learn so many things in this type of setup now that I just created, like I said, a new account, and I can log this user into the new machine. So this way you would have multiple machines to try out different scenarios. If you don't have a second machine, you don't have the resources, then you should just stick to the one machine and try to log in with these users on the same machine. You see, you can open group policies as well, as I'm showing you right now, and you can learn about group policies and other advanced things from YouTube videos, courses, or lectures or sections that you're going through. And when you see something like this, you can come over here and practice it just like how you would see in the training. Everything is the same. It's just that sometimes they use different materials or different resources like VMware or some sort of different type of applications. But once you're in the system, it's all the same. Now I'm going to show you how we provide these same type of labs on a web. Of course, it's paid, and when you go to jobskillshare.org, you will need an account, especially a premium account, because it comes with all the labs. When you click on login, it is going to basically let you log in with the portal once you register. And then once you get to the portal, we usually recommend people to start a roadmap, because roadmap has like a learning path with multiple courses in a sequence. So you get to see everything in a step-by-step way. You see the labs are attached to the roadmap, but we like you to go through the course. So once you click on the course, then you will click on start course. And then once you start the course, we will have quizzes, interactions with you, and then practice lab tour. In this, you're going to learn about our lab systems. So we offer two type of labs. One is a sandbox lab and one is a premium lab. A sandbox is just like what you have done in VirtualBox, but it's more powerful than VirtualBox because it's one web-based, and second, it comes with a lot of resources. So when you open it and click on Launch Labs, you're going to see a very nice, like a step-by-step instructions in this lab. Of course, this one is a sandbox. It does not come with documentation, but it comes with like a domain controller already installed. So you don't have to install Active Directory. Then 2 more servers and 3 more client machines, so you can play around with the labs in an easy way on a web browser. So the best part of this is that, of course, this is a web base. You could have a laptop and a very low memory with it and everything, and that doesn't matter. Everything you're doing it on a web browser. And each of this system comes with 4 GB, 8 GB, 4 GB, 4 GB. So it's way more than even your normal, a very fast laptop could handle. So it's a lot of memory out there. And you can play around with different type of settings in this lab to make it screen friendly. So this is a domain controller where the Active Directory is pre-built. Everything is connected. Some machines are already added to the Active Directory and some machines are standalone for you to practice anything you like to do. So here I'm going to show you, like in PLab, DM01, which is basically connected to this Active Directory. It's being managed by this Active Directory. And if you check this is a real server. And if you right click and go to the systems, this is going to be a 4 GB RAM given to us in this server. Now the second one is PLAB SA, which is a standalone server. Now this one comes with more memory, more RAM, because we can install even virtual machines using a Hyper-V, a different technology just like VirtualBox from Microsoft, and we have more RAM here to learn that type of stuff. Even in the own home lab through the web, we can use a Hyper-V to install even other things that whatever you want to learn. So you can see it comes with a Hyper-V. And the other ones are just normal Windows 10 machines, and then that also is a 4 GB RAM. And then there's a PLAB Win 101, which is a standalone machine, which is like you could learn anything that we have just discussed in the VirtualBox environment. And the only best thing about this is that this is a web-based, fast, more memory. You don't have to worry about things, but also, of course, it comes with its own disadvantages that you cannot keep all the resources in this. Whatever you do, it's going to be a session, and once you're done with that session and you say, okay, I'm done with the whole lab, and you reset everything, then it's going to go back to its original state. And that's something, the luxury of you having a VirtualBox is that you can keep things. So here you can open Active Directory and start learning things just like what you have done in virtual. The whole idea of these type of labs is that we want people to not waste their time and be less stressful and just get to the point of learning skills and not getting to a lot of these technical issues, which a lot of people give up at some points in their home labs, and just that's just there in their computers and not doing anything. This is something that is very commonly known for IT professionals. So it's a solution. A lot of new people don't know this. When you tell them that we have something like this, they think that this is something normal, that a lot of people will just give it out even for free. And that's where when we say no to that, we get a negative feedback or negative ratings on courses sometimes, just for that, with this one reason that we're trying to help people out with this issue that home lab created, and this is a solution. But they understand it later on when they actually get into IT and they realize the worth of this type of RAM resources and efforts and everything. Then people start respecting it and kind of give us up. Hey, you know what? This is a great stuff. I need it, or I want it for my skills development, and then they will come back and either get it from us or somebody else. So the next one is a premium labs. This is where you get almost 15,000 exercises in different type of labs, step-by-step introduction in the lab with exercises, outcome, tasks, images, and it's being supported by the staff members. This means if you're following a task or exercise and if things are not working, on the right side there is this question mark on the top of this devices, and you can send a message to the support anytime and you will get a response. And sometimes in our courses we create videos on top of tasks, so even without going to the support, you could watch a video inside our courses and kind of like understand, okay, this is what's going on. So then you can learn anything you want to as a premium member, because like I said, 15,000 exercises with 100 plus labs. It's like a full-blown courses. If you want to learn about Azure, then you have these 3 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours labs. If you want to learn about AWS, we have 8 hours practitioner lab. If you want to learn about servers, we have 14 hours, 20 hours, many server labs over here. If you want to learn about cybersecurity, we have cybersecurity in here. You name it, SQL, you name it, and it's going to be here for most of the IT stuff. Type of labs are going to be available. Even Outlook, Exchange, stuff like that is also available in our labs. So the worth of this is unimaginable, and not easy for someone who's new to understand what I'm talking about right now. But once you get into IT and you realize that there's something like this available, it's like somebody's picking a job experience, job environment, and they're just giving it to you for you to practice. And that is something that was missing for many trainings, and still to this date, when someone don't have this type of training, they will promote more home labs, which is fine. That's how a normal way of teaching would be done. But when someone have this, they will never say that let's come to the home lab. They will say come to our practice labs, because you don't want to take stress, we don't want to take stress, but this is the better way, modern way, an easier way, and more effective, smarter way to learn things. And that is exactly what we are trying to promote. But again, you have your VirtualBox. If you don't like that, then go ahead, try it on your computer. And I just showed you a full long video on this to make sure that you're successful with your VirtualBox training as well. Thank you.